Well, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think I have enough social distance. I can pull this mask down a little bit.
Absolutely.
I am just happy to be here in sharing with you what's been taking place with the Dos Vientos Community Center over the past year. As some of you may have realized, this past year has been rather challenging. There have been a few, changes to our society overall that have, made us rethink, adjust what we've been doing. And I want to share some of how Dos Vientos team has been making those adjustments. This team has been just creative, resourceful, but at the same time, closely following the guidelines that have been established at the state and county level in order to make sure that we maintain safety, responsibility for our community. Some of the programs that I want to highlight are the quarantine program that has been running, preschool, pre-K, the Westlake senior programs, and pop-up programs they've been putting on over at Dos Vientos Center. Also the Rancho Petraro partnership. Some of the programs that I do want to highlight for you today. So I want to start by touching on quarantine. Now, this program was started up because of the void that was created by students, CVUSD going into a virtual mode. And now all of a sudden we had a few kids in the community that really needed someplace to go, something to do, some way to stay active, and quarantine was born. And initially we put out multiple options for the families. We had a variation of days, times that they could go, and right from the get-go back in August, it was determined in the Dos Vientos community that they really appreciated the Monday through Friday mornings and the Tuesday afternoons. And this has stuck ever since, quite consistently. And, this showed us that this is what the community was looking for, and we were responsive to that. But also part of what made this so successful was the team that put this together and what they did with creating a program that really filled what the families were looking for. They brought in, this was sort of in a sense filling the void left by not attending campus. So they brought some education into it, incorporated STEAM, science, technology, and so forth, but also coupled that with fun because last I checked, we're recreation. And so we need to have fun with this. But at the same time, they're looking for, educational components. And so our team was able to do that. Also, this is taking place week after week, and we need to make sure that there wasn't monotony. So our team, right from the get-go, established themes on a week-by-week basis, and the kids and families loved them. The kids were going home with stories of, this is what we did today. This week was superhero theme, and we learned about, wind resistance in when flying over buildings, and we made this, and we got to bring this home, and the kids were loving it. And parents were just asking us weeks before the month was over, hey, can we sign up for next month? What about the month after that? We'd like to sign up for that as well. And it's still going strong. And I do believe it's because of the team that put that together, the creativity and, what they were able to provide for the community. Here's an example of some fun being had. You can see this was during, if you may have been able to guess, it was in October. This was during Halloween week. And, the kids just loved it. They had a great time with it. A lot of fun was had. Another demographic that we were catering to was is currently the preschool and pre-K age. And this was a shock to the system for these families where all of a sudden we had to essentially bring a halt to in-person meetings, and these preschoolers and kindergartners, they had to go virtual. Well, our instructor, Miss Pat, she stepped up and just made that as seamless as possible and just provided the comfort that those kids really needed and those families frankly needed as well. There was a lot of unknown that was taking place. And for them to know that they had that consistency, that they could still count on their children, gaining the skills and interaction that they needed was just, brilliant. I must say with Miss Pat, it was brilliant. Well, summer came around and now moving into fall, and guidelines are shifting on a moment-to-moment basis. And we realized we could start bringing some in-person programming back into play as long as we followed those guidelines closely. Many of the families were still unsure about bringing their kids back into the classroom. And also the room size, we only have so big of a building, Tom, and we can only bring so many people in there.
Tom.
So what we did was we looked at the patio that we had, and also the guidelines were saying outdoor is a preferred method of programming. We could fit 10 children comfortably in a classroom setting out on the outside patio. We put that option out there. Some took to it, some did not. We were able to put together a class of combined preschool and pre-K students to fill that need and provide for them. And Ms. Pat was able to modify the curriculum and really provide, again, this essential need for these kids at this age, preschool, pre-K, that need this social interaction. They need to develop their social skills. They need to prepare for kindergarten for once they do step out onto the public school campuses, and we're able to provide that and provide a great program for that. Again, we have the parents that are lining up to sign up for the next program as well. Again, just showing what the Dos Vientos staff was able to do in order to make the modifications needed in order to continue to provide. Well, let's talk about some more people that we're helping. We have this partnership, this terrific partnership with the city of Westlake, where we provide senior programming. And again, this programming was brought to a halt. And I will say, with my history with the Global Adult Community Center, that socialization is just essential for the older generation as well, for wellness, for just staying active and engaged. And with these programs just yanked out from under their feet, we made a modification to provide the virtual programming for them. And it has been successful. It's been running throughout since. And people are signing up on a regular basis to participate in yoga, in ukulele, in art classes. The city of Westlake is appreciative of what we're continuing to provide for their population. And the people, the patrons, are especially appreciative. And we just got another batch of reviews back where people pointed out by name my rec specialist, Matt, for continuing to bring these programs to them and to help them as they navigate these new challenges of figuring out how do they get into this Zoom meeting? Do they need to go to this link? Do they need to have a code? Do they need to go in at the right time? And our team's been there to help them navigate this. And it's really been well received. Some of the feedback we've received is, I really need yoga today. Enjoy your class. It keeps me moving. Additionally, we've learned from what we've been doing that, hey, some of this works, and much of what we're doing, much of what we're learning here can be transferred forward into future programming that we do with Westlake and beyond, ultimately just multiplying what we are able to provide for our community. Pop-ups. So this one I was particularly proud of our staff coming together and saying, hey, you know what, we've listed these programs in the program guide, but things have changed so much and we won't be able to do this. What more can we do? Let's come up with some ideas. And we put some ideas out there and we gave it a shot. We put a pop-up program out there, a drive-in movie, and it was a hit. People received it well. They appreciated it. They said, yes, this is great. We like this. The Dos Vientos community liked this. And they said, we would like more. We got great feedback on it. So we continued to get creative. We came up with, a gingerbread workshop, a Valentine's event, most recently the Leprechaun Gold Hunt. And also additionally, we continue to do the drive-in movies. In fact, we've got one tomorrow night and they've been well received. It's something that we just wanted to give it a try. We heard the public. They said, we want more. We provided more, and it was successful. You can see from the pictures, we got creative with how we laid it out in order to be able to have the socialization, but still maintain that safety. So we designated tables specific to households. So we made sure the tables were separated, but anyone at that table could all be from the same household. Therefore, they could all be together, and they could just be, you know, 8 feet away from another table where they have some other people that they look over at their gingerbread house and they say, hey, mine's looking a little bit better than yours, but I like the way you're doing the frosting on the trim over there. I might steal that idea. And just really getting that social, you know, socialization, that recreation that we're really looking for. So I was really excited to push that forward and to continue to do that. Leprechaun Gold Hunt, again, you know, they're just out there. You can see by their faces. The masks, you know, the masks might be covering up your mouth, but you look at the eyes and you can't hide that smile, you know? You see those smiles in those eyes. So really proud of that. Another thing really excited about is the partnership with Rancho Petraro Community Equestrian Center. And we started this last year, and we take care of listing the programs, marketing the programs, take care of the registration for it. And it has just been well received by Dos Vientos and the community throughout. These programs are just filling up on a regular basis. We're doing, well, for one thing, just this picture highlights the experience of the Ride On unit that they've been doing programs for more years than I know. They have a lot of experience. You can see that they have the techniques in place for social distancing and just running a great program. Programs that we've been running: horseback riding classes, horsemanship, which is just essentially taking care of horses, and that one's been well received as well. Wrangler camps, adult trail rides also, and this is just the start of it. This is a new relationship, and we're just going to continue to develop what we're doing with them. So excited with this partnership, and especially with the new increased relationship with Rancho Petraro and Conejo Recreation and Park District, that, you know, we're just going to continue to watch this grow and just really enhance the recreational opportunities that we provide for our community. I keep going back to the team. This is the team here. This Dos Vientos team has stuck with us throughout all of this. They have faced challenges. They have faced concerns. They're essential workers, undoubtedly, and they have done just a stand-up job. I am so incredibly proud of them, so incredibly to have that as my team. And I feel that we have a track record that is just worthy of praise for what they have been able to do. So with that, I just want to thank you for taking the time to hear me, to review what I wanted to share with you. And I want to thank you especially for all of the support that you provide for us, because again, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without all of you. And as I shared with you, the public is receiving this well, and that's kudos to all of you for the support that you provide to us. So thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Really appreciate that. Just before we go to questions, could you just clarify, because this, I know we try to record this segment and then, you know, have it available on the website. Again, your name, your title, what you do there, and also why Rancho Petraro and Westlake adults when you're in Dos Vientos.
Sure. So again, my name is Rick Tanaka, and I'm the recreation supervisor of the Dos Vientos Community Center. And two of the partnerships that I talked about here were with the city of Westlake, where we partner with them to provide recreational opportunities in the Westlake area. That's the city of Westlake itself. A great team that we work with over there, and just really excited to continue to provide programming for them, even with the challenges that we've faced over the past year, and those programs will continue to grow also. And with Rancho Petraro Community Equestrian Center, that is, again, our partnership that we're really proud of, with providing registration for their programs so that they can, you know, fulfill their goal of providing for that community as well.
Great, thanks, because I know, while we may be familiar with it, not everybody who might be watching this in the future would do so. So, Director Lang, questions?
Thank you, Chair Nichols.
Comments?
Well, Rick, seeing your enthusiasm, your knowledge, your experiences at Dos Vientos does not surprise me. Based on your relationship with CRPD, starting with skateboard activities, organizing that, making that something out of nothing, and your experience at the Global Adult Center, et cetera, is very diverse. And the elements of the programs that you're sharing with us tonight. Just a natural fit in my mind with you as an individual. And I'm sure that it's not just your team, it's you as the leader. So thank all of them. And in relationship to the city of Westlake Village, we've had for years and years, as you know, not an obligation, a relationship with the city of Westlake Village, doing other rec programs and so forth. But after, you know, the restrictions, COVID that has impacted us, where would you anticipate the senior programs for the city of Westlake be taking place?
Well, I do see the senior programs returning to the City of Westlake Library / City Hall facility for in-person programming, but also continuing to grow the online programming that has been so successful. So really just returning to what has been taking place and continuing to grow this new element that we have created.
Great. And in regards to the Dos Vientos, I think that is just a gold mine waiting to be discovered. And listening to you and the talking about the programs that currently are taking place, but those in potential in the future, just it's so exciting. And as Chair Nichols and myself were on that committee and making the transition from the city to CRPD, we talked about the potential of programs in Dos Vientos and expanding some great family programs. So thank you for all that you're doing. And Rochelle, thank you for having an organization that Rick is able to build into a real winner. So thank you again, Rick. And we look forward to some future programs and maybe even barbecue prior to a CRPD board meeting at Dos Vientos. And I would say if in my younger days, because we used to do trail rides, the city council, the park district, and the school board used to do trail rides, and in now Lang Ranch, it wasn't Lang Ranch, but anyway, in my younger days, I would say do a trail ride on a horse, but now I'll have to say buckboard or something like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Director.
Chair Nichols.
Director Cusworth, did you have any comments?
So I'm assuming that maybe you have senior programming for seniors at Dos Vientos also?
Yes, thank you. Good question. So with what I shared today, this is just a few of the programs that we've been running, and I just wanted to highlight a few of those. We have continued to have a popular program is a senior aerobics that has been taking place on a weekly basis throughout. It's been moved to an outdoor portion of the park. Again, following all the guidelines of temperature checks and maintaining distancing, but that has been running consistently throughout. And that type of programming will also only grow as, as guidelines permit.
So do you have a pretty good base of seniors from Newberry Park that come over to Dos Vientos, would you say? Do you not have room to really have much senior things? Or I'm just kind of wondering how the whole senior feel is over at Dos Vientos since you're doing things at Westlake.
We do have a good following of seniors that participate in some of these programs that we've been offering so far, specifically with the aerobics. But again, I do see, in fact, just before the pandemic, I was excited to bring in, I wanted to bring in a senior dance program that was just on the verge of getting started, but then the pandemic hit and the brakes got put onto that. But I definitely see a calling for more senior programming in that area.
So, excuse me. So for the Zoom classes, were those just for seniors in Westlake, or could anyone come in on those?
Those were for anyone can come in on those, but the City of Westlake residents do have priority registration, and they're already familiar with the instructors and receiving the updated information. We found that many of the participants stay up to date via email, and we send out the email notifications to those past participants, and they appreciate and embrace them and sign up for the programs that we are providing for them. Those recognized programs that they want to continue with because they've appreciated how they've been run so far.
Okay, great. I also, I hadn't thought of that, but I'd be very happy to be on a trail ride. I think that this whole thing with the Rancho Petraro sounds very exciting, kind of like the CRPD continues to grow, continues to add new things. And I think we could put, George in the book board and that would be fine. And, but I'd love to do that. I'm going to go home and look up your classes. I went horseback riding in Mexico last year and I thought, or I guess the year before now, we didn't go anywhere last year. Hadn't been horseback riding since I was a teenager. And I thought, well, this is kind of fun, so I think that's great.
It sounds like the
sounds
potential
exciting.
for a future retreat.
Yeah, I think it would be wonderful. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you. Director Holt, did you have any comments?
Hi, I'm so glad to see you here. I remember all the other places you've been and your progress and the success that you're having over there is amazing. And I really appreciate your coming here and explaining to us. So congratulations on the successful things that you're doing. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Director Holt.
And Director Huffer?
Yeah, Rick, you're a hard mind to keep up with. I
Yeah.
saw you at Goble some years ago and then the Teen Center and now Dos Vientos. And so I strongly suspect that all those different venues that you worked at have enabled you to really do your job at Dos Vientos because you're dealing with a lot of different populations. You mentioned briefly the Westlake Seniors program, but during normal times, that program, you have one or more of your staff go over to Westlake. You don't have Westlake seniors who are coming over to Dos Vientos, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then similar for the Rancho Petraro Equestrian Center, you're providing some of the support services, but all of the staffing is done by the folks at Rancho Petraro and by the ride-on folks. You don't have the horses coming over to Dos Vientos or anything like that, so.
Not yet.
But it would be safe to say that for most of the programs, both the ones you're doing currently with all of the creativity you and your staff have put in, but again, during normal times, majority of people who you have using your programs, whether it's preschoolers, kindergartners, grade school, high school, seniors and adults, most of those folks are Dos Vientos residents, right?
We do see a pattern that says that, yes.
Okay, all right. So just kudos to everyone at Dos Vientos. And we've seen this at all of our centers that, you guys turned on a dime when things shut down over a year ago, coming up with all these new ideas and new programs and keeping the community engaged has been absolutely wonderful to see. So thanks, Rick.
Thanks so much, Director Huffer.
Again, thank you, Rick, for the presentation. I had a couple of questions. First of all, kind of tailoring my question towards what you just answered here. With Dos Vientos and Borchard Park within reach of each other, a little more than a stone's throw, and Borchard being there for a little bit longer than Dos Vientos, do you find that there is a kind of like a clientele that certain people always like to go to Borchard and certain people always like to go to Dos Vientos? Or is it more of a partnership between the two where Dos Vientos offers certain courses and Borchard offers certain courses, and just to kind of make sure there's no conflict? Just wondering how that has evolved or if that's continued to evolve.
I would have to say that it's a mix of both. Kurt at the Borchard Center and I stay in close communication with each other. And when there are programs that maybe are so similar and so close, we don't want to conflict with each other in that way. But at the same time, there are programs that just sort of run at any respective community center. And at those types of programs, we do tend to see people that are in the Dos Vientos area coming over to their community center to participate in those programs.
Right, because I know we have a lot of, district-wide events that happen to be at one of the community centers. Of course, everyone's welcome to attend, but usually those that are closest are going to be the first ones in. Another question about pop-ups. I presume these are just, somebody has an idea, it's not in the program schedule, and you just make it happen. So how do you get the word out for a pop-up, and what's been more successful as opposed to the least successful in your approaches for getting that word out?
Well, I mean, I do have to say it sort of ties in with your previous question in that the Dos Vientos community has been responsive, it seems, to the pop-ups that we've provided. And then I also mentioned the email notifications that we've sent out, where we've established an email list for past participants of what we see as like programs. We send those notifications out to that email list. They have the option of unsubscribing if they want to, but most tend not to. And we have received great response from that type of notification. Additionally, we have the corner there where most people coming into the Dos Vientos community, they drive past the corner of the community center, and we have banner space there. And we put up a banner promoting a program, and we tend to get some phone calls on the day that we put a banner up, or for a couple days following, to find out more and to sign up. So that tells us that it is the Dos Vientos community that is responding to the pop-up events that we're providing.
And just to step in, I believe in the past we've worked with the HOA too to help get the word out on special events.
Yes. Thank you, Rochelle. Yeah, we do also have, connections with the local HOA, and if we're planning it far enough in advance, we'll send out notification to the HOA newsletters and maybe notify the office manager at Sycamore Canyon School and see if we can get an announcement on campus. Just other creative marketing means as well.
Very good.
And one final question. Using your forecasting skills into the future, a year or more into the future, with what you've learned over this last year, especially with the Zooming and interactive, trying to do as best you can, how much of that is going to stay in your program where you realize, yeah, we need to have this as a available option for that? And then how much of the new things like pop-ups where you didn't have it before, and I know you've had to restrict the number, where you're going to say, hey, we're having a pop-up, but rather than it's the first 25, it's just like, hey, whoever wants to come. Do you see that happening?
I do. I see continuing with the pop-ups. They've been successful. And if the community is demanding it through registering for these programs, then of course we're going to continue to provide for them. Additionally, just as I mentioned with the senior programming, the Zoom programs have been successful. And even once things open back up, especially initially, there may be people that maybe still don't quite feel comfortable coming to in-person interaction, or it could even just be the convenience of doing it at home. Maybe they enjoy taking that guitar class from the comfort of their own home via Zoom, and they want to continue that. So we can continue to provide those options on top of coming back to more traditional recreational programs that we've offered in the past.
Well, thanks. And again, I wanted to thank you and Rochelle and the whole team, because I know we've heard of, like I said, Rochelle's used the term pivot time and time again, where, the rules changed this week, so we had to pivot another direction, and it just continues to happen. But I appreciate the flexibility that both of you build into your respective roles, where you do allow that creativity, encourage it, and then, the district-wide, our residents benefit from that. So thank you all, and thank you for giving us a firsthand look at what happens out there. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time and appreciate all you do.
Thank you.